Here we are in Mago session. Mago. Sorry, I started without you. About 30 minutes into it. Started without you, my Mago ceremony day 101. Right, last one. I just declared it to be 100. It may or may not be exactly 100, but it's probably been about 100 Mago sessions my entire life. Right. Over 5 years. Yeah, that sounds about right. Year 5, Mago. I experimented with Mago when I was like 20 in college, whatever, but I was afraid of it. It was, when I would go to a gathering or party and people would be sitting around or doing it like secretly. It seemed like it was more like a party drug, and I didn't get already. I'm surrounded by all these people I don't know. Just not a lot of good energy. So I experimented then, and it was not a good experience for me. And so I didn't use it after that until, 10, 15 years later. After I was 35, and after, I think, suffering of I reached my limit of the soul of the system, the matrix. I reached my limit of being a slave. Yeah. And clinical, psycho, therapy people, pharmaceutical people, the medical industry, all that Adam and Eve religion cults created, by the way. People who believe that shit are all corporate owners of that shit. And they'll say, oh, I'm depressed. That's their turn. Get him some therapy. Get him some pharmaceutical pills. Some Zorax, whatever, bullshit. Antidepressants. Get him that shit. Right? I believe my sister and cousin and millions of other slaves in the U.S. I forgot to mention religion. They use church and religion as well. Go there and just pray and sing, and you'll reach, I guess, some sort of high where you believe your pain and suffering and limitation of being a slave gets opiated. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I'm talking to myself. All these people don't understand. They're Brazilian. They don't speak English. They just come in here to say, Jackie Chan, ha ha ha, Jackie Chan. Or if they're younger, the Asian guy from Fast and Furious. People spend their time making pop culture references when they see an Asian person in Brazil, without fail. It amazes me. Anyways, I'm just talking about my introduction to Mago. And around 35, I reached my limit in the suffering of being a slave in the Adam and Eve cult matrix that we live in. We live in an Adam and Eve cult created Matrix. I mean, a cult probably didn't create the Matrix. Just some criminals. We live in a system created by criminals. Pure and simple. We live in a system created by criminals. They created religion, these criminals destroyed these criminals destroyed our access to spirituality. They murdered our true spiritual people connected to nature. And then they created, these criminals, they created a cult. Hates nature, mutilates it as soon as it's born, and spends their entire life enslaving us to nature. That's what we live in this world. And I reached my limit. It was around 35. All right. I think it was like realization when I was like approaching my 10-year anniversary at the most Adam and Eve corporation cult, criminal cult ever company. As I try to explain, I use the word for Fannie Mae, and they're the epitome of evil. They're the slave masters of the biggest slave master country of the world in history. The most greedy, I mean. So yeah, we live in a world created by greedy criminals who have enslaved us, disconnected us from nature. Now this light is shining on my face. Fumasa. And I reached my limit. I'm just trying to explain. Fuck this idea of depression. People don't get depression. People reach their limit for the slavery system run by greedy criminals. And so they latch on to Christianity, the Bible, Islam. Nobody wants to go to the, we'll call it Yoav's religion. We'll talk about Yoav later. Nobody wants to join the Yoav religion. It's filled with people who believe they're stuck in it because they believe it's a race. It's not a race. It's just a cult. It only has 4,000 years of 4,000 years of existence. And a race that only exists for 3,000 years is not a race. Unless you have 10,000 years of history, you're not a race. You're just a new cult of inbreeding people. White people are barely a race. White people are not whites. They're Arabs that have lost their ability to tan. They're Arabs that were kicked out of the cradle of modern civilization. Not the cradle of humanity, just the cradle of living in cities with, I guess you would call it plumbing, right? There's no reason to want to live in a city unless it has good plumbing. If it doesn't have plumbing, then you're living in a slum. No matter how great the architecture is, unless the entire city has plumbing, you're living in a slum where people decided they didn't want to live, where people who can't live in the nature environment cling to each other in a slum, and then because they're walking around in shit and disease, the water's all messed up. Just being near the ground is where all the shit and rats and fleas and ticks and cholera exist. So they build upwards. A strong man takes control of everyone, commands them to build a tower, and now got this giant tower. Looks like a giant vampire cathedral. And they call that person the church leader of our spirituality. Pretend he's holy man, and speak to God. And then he creates this cult religion. All these people that were kicked out of nature, they huddled together and formed these cities. Some of them had plumbing eventually and technology and all these things to all these things that disconnect people from nature. So that's what white people are. They're a sect, a cold weather sect of Arabs, the people around that Mediterranean, from the river to the sea type of people. That's what we should call it. Mm-hmm. We call them Adam and Eve type of people. People who believe the ridiculous story written by From the River to the Sea people. The ridiculous idea that God is a human man creator that works 6 days a week. God is just a worker working 6 days a week to create the entire universe. He can't do it instantly. He's not that strong of a God. It takes eight days. Waking up, working 8 hours, clocking in, clocking out. All right, I did this on day 1. Come in the next day, put on his work hat, sit at the table. Day 2, made that. And then day 7, he was exhausted. God created everything, but it exhausted him, so he had to rest and worship himself. Look what I made, haha. I worked all this time, 6 days straight, and now I rest and worship myself. And now the humans inside that, my special humans, they have to rest on that day as well. And worship me. I created everything, worship me. That's why I created everything, for you all to worship me. Anytime you stop worshiping, I'm gonna kill everything. I'm gonna flood everything. Ha 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 ha. That'll show you. I like to do revenge. And if you don't worship me, I'm gonna revenge you for eternity. I'm gonna drown you in fire for eternity. that's these Arab people, including the Arab people that are allergic to the sun in the cold region. They just migrated from there, obviously, and yeah, that's what they believe, and that drives them, that Adam and Eve belief, to to worship an imaginary god, and destroy the planet and enslave everyone, or agree to a life of slavery. It's okay to be a slave master to the greedy criminals. Because in their eyes, they're already slaves the day they're born, just to God, worshiping and working for God. So these people are already slaves. Are already slaves as soon as their parents start teaching them about Adam and Eve. It would be interesting to meet people that grew up never hearing about the Bible or Christianity, like just somehow in the Amazon, somewhere in some country where you don't have access to internet, and it's not a Christian country, so you just really never encounter it. And then you're an adult, like not 13, not 15, but like a 20-year-old adult. Okay. By then, and someone approaches, and someone from a non-Christian country that, as an adult, encountered Christianity, and so started reading the Bible and was like, yes, and converted to Christianity. I can't imagine that happening. I can't imagine an adult. And I'm not saying if you believe in Islam and converted to Christianity or vice versa, that's not what we're talking about here. Both still had read the River to the Sea people's version of the creation of everything, right? God that created everything in 7 days and then created Adam and Eve. So the Adam and Eve people, that includes the J people, the Muslims and the Christians. Anyhow, I have to guard, right? How I say. It's like, how one of the commandments in the J people religion is thou shalt not say of God's name in vain, right? Like if I say God, oh my God, that apparently is the 10 Commandments sin. Like I'm just, like that idea you shouldn't say it unless it's, here I am censored, right? Where I can't say because it'll be antiseptic. So it's like those people are now in the position of God, like their 10 Commandments of, you cannot say the name of our people in a bad light, or it'll be silenced. That's the world we live in because of the ADL and APAC and the criminals that run the system, the greedy criminals. All right. So what did I cover here? There was a topic here. When Yoav first messaged me asking to stay in my house, one of his ways to try to manipulate me against it, because of where he's from, And it's not saying like I was already extremely awakened. I wasn't I wasn't yet extremely awakened. I was slightly awakened. And this had been the G side, all the exploding of children and doctors, rescue workers, and journalists, I was aware of. This was a year ago. I was aware of, and I had already started. Well, I started boycotting the second I left the U 5 years ago. But I had been cranking it up more and more because it's not a black and white thing. We still have to survive in their world, right? So you can't just pour everything and grow your own food and drink your own water and da, 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 da. It's a process. It's like the search for truth. There's no just turn it on awakening. Awakening is just a compass I'm pointed towards increasing my knowledge of the truth. I'm a truth seeker, gradually increasing my grasp of the truth. That's what spirituality is. True spirituality. So anyways, Yoav had messaged me asking me if he can stay in my house. And my house is a spiritual temple. It is where I meditate, and I invite my spirituals to come meditate. It is where we do nature medicines, where we are able to connect with our own inner spirituality and not have to listen to religions. So this is an religion house. And I'm wording that now for the first time with the help of Mago. And I'm wording it now for my identity. My name is Safajinho. It's a combination of two words. It's a combination of Safado in Portuguese is naughty. But it can also mean kind of obedient. And most often it's used in sexual content, you know. Naughty, you're being naughty, naughty content, naughty photos, safado, photo safado, or something like that. But the root of that word is actually, you're breaking the rules of propriety, or you're being slightly inappropriate. You know, that kind of life. It's all Puritan Christian virginity, sex is a sin, all that crap. That's all in that frame. But real Safadoism, being Safado, is being disobedient. All right, you're supposed to obey certain uh, taboo rules, cross the line for nudity, for words, profanity. We have to protect our kids from naked bodies, the sight of naked bodies, and hearing bad words. So they ban words and body parts. Right? These are rules created by religions that influence how people want to be governed by their criminal slave masters. And so, we live in this world that I was pretty naive about. I was naive about the world. Born and raised in the system, mutilated at birth by the system. The Adam and Eve people believe that men are born with sin and they are born with a defect that Adam and Eve people need to correct by removing the protective sleeve, the sheath, the foreskin of the boy's penis. They need to mutilate it, rip it off. I'm sure they and they brainwash all of you people into thinking, yeah, that's normal. That's okay. Some people are circumcised, some people are not circumcised. But circumcised is better because doesn't circumcised people apparently get infections. They try to say it's normal to get infections if you have foreskin. But women get infections all the time. They have to work on their body chemistry, change their underwear more often, wear clean underwear. And they're okay. There's no need to mutilate women who get infections or whatever fungus issues that develop, yeast infections, I guess they call it, right, for women. So why do they have to mutilate men? So I'm mutilated, right? Pretty much a Jew because I've been circumcised. I've been circumcised as is the Jewish custom that the Mongols do. It's not a custom that Native Americans do. It's not a custom that Africans do. I mean, now they do because they're colonized by Adam and Eve religions, this barbaric religion that mutilates baby boys. And if you hear about how rabbis have been doing it for centuries and centuries, it involves drinking blood. It's disgusting. They like might as well. We snipped, mutilated this baby. He's bleeding. That's rare. Baby blood. Most people don't let you make babies bleed, but here we've got parents that are letting us making this baby bleed. We got to take advantage of this. I want to save this blood. I want to rub it on my hands and my face and my body. I want to drink this blood. That's what rabbis were doing for thousands of years. circumcising babies and drinking. And these people got expelled a bunch of times because I kind of think they believed the blood gave powers, and so they don't want to drink it just once every baby birth. They want to drink it every day. So they, you can imagine, create an industry selling a rare, precious liquid. And you create religions and cults with all different sects, and you teach them to worship wine because it represents the blood of a sacrificial animal. They're obsessed with blood from a sacrificed living creature, whether it's an animal or a baby. Create an obsession about that. And you train it, once every week. Go to a building, sing songs about worship, and then you drink a glass of grape juice while thinking, even if it's grape, you imagine you're drinking blood that's cleaning and forgiving you of your sins. And you feel like, But while you're pretending you're drinking blood, there are the wealthy people who are trained to believe that drinking blood gives them more wealth and power. So they each pay $10 million to go to their ceremony where it's not grape juice anymore, it's real children's blood. And since modern medicines, they no longer drink it, instead they have it pumped inside their body through a needle. It's like, especially when you're old, your body's all falling apart, right? That's the natural process of getting old. But when you have children's blood transfusion, children's blood is rejuvenating. It's growing. It's for a baby to grow, and it's just carries more oxygen, more hemoglobins, whatever, and it has all the good antibodies from other. Okay, that's the dark truths I've been holding within me, and I get so angry that everyone else is asleep to it. And so this is partly why I have to get it out, because it's amazing that we live in this world where torturing and killing babies, all because a greedy criminal, slave master has spent the last 3,000 years evolving a system where they've enslaved us all. Long story short, we need to stop using money and unite and how do we say, overthrow the way our ancestors have overthrown hundreds of times the evil slave masters, thousands of times, My ayahuascas have shown me hidden within the memories of my DNA epigenetically, just the way kittens know to epigenetically be a cat. They all do this when they're suckling. Epigenetically, that's a movement that they've it's in their body, in their genetics. And the ayahuasca connected me to those movements. I was like, oh yeah, I've had 1,000 ancestors fighting this fight where the greedy criminals take control of countless people, and the countless people eventually wake up and get rid of those slave masters. Everywhere, that's what it's been like. And it just keeps repeating itself because stop reading, right? We write books to try to teach our kids to not fall off a cliff again, because they always fall off a cliff. That's what Confucianism tried to fix, but they left out the feminine, the spiritual. So, I wind it back up. Yoav had messaged me to ask to live in my anti-religious house, my anti-religious, truth-seeking, spiritual temple. And I knew what country he was from. He was from the country where every citizen has to participate in the colonizing and genociding of families that have been living on lands for many, many generations. And then they claim to promise them in the Bible this land. Anyways, he's from that country, and I didn't want that dirty blood money. And I wanted his presence, but at the time, I didn't want to become hateful. I had been working on not becoming hateful. I had been seeing babies blown up in front of my eyes on social media and TikTok and whatnot. And knowing what I've known since my days at Fannie Mae, and I discovered the evil that is money, you know, in the Bitcoin community, fighting against the money printers and the bankers. Before I thought they were just all evil, old men, mainly of a certain religion, just pure love of money. And all the same, still slave master, but just so far detached from any real evilness, right? And then slowly I've been realizing more and more of the truth. that these criminals, these greedy criminals that rule the entire world at this point, we have to recognize just how evil they are. They enjoy suffering. They really enjoy it. It's not just the fearful, propagandized people who sees babies being born and go, yeah, because they hate the other side, right? They've been raised to hate the other side. But there are people that, they have $100 trillion, right? And they love it when they see immense suffering, families being massacred. They love it. These people love it. We live with these people all around. Not people ignoring it, but people that love it. They control everything that we do. They control all companies, all economies, all everything that happens. It happens with their intention. Anyways, he had texted me, and I was becoming hateful because of everything I was learning. I was seeing the true nature of matrix that we live in and how disgusting and evil it was. I was becoming hateful. And I was meditating every day, fighting against becoming hateful. And this house was a meditation house. I was fighting, and I was not getting better. I just became so traumatized by it. And so I was like, I need to leave my home and learn to love someone unconditionally. It's so hard to love someone we love unconditionally. Most people don't love their own family unconditionally, their parents, their kids. Imagine loving a person unconditionally who doesn't deserve an ounce of love because they're just so horrendously evil. So I was like, I need to learn to love unconditionally my enemy. All right. Loving unconditionally to the point where that person is your enemy. So I offered him my friendship. And I thought I was I let him stay in a room. I only charged him something ridiculous like $100 a month in rent, just because I didn't want more blood money, but at the same time, I didn't want him staying for free. All right, like he should have to recognize that, like, this is my home. He's paying me. As like a renter, I'm a landlord. He's a renter. That means what I say goes at this house. I didn't just want to let him come in and just do what he wanted, right? So I just gave him like a nominal amount, $100 a month, thinking he would stay for a month, maybe 2 months, but not more than that, because I need a place to spiritually grow. This is the temple, right? First month I think was okay. I was like, you know what? He's not so bad of a kid. He's very much a kid. Like, he's a kid that puts stickers on things. Like, I used to have, used to get stickers, whatever. Or friends would get stickers and they would put like their skaters or whatever, and they put stickers on their skateboard, they put stickers on their books and their life. And he's like in his 20s something, I don't know. And he's putting stickers all over my house. And that's half him being a kid, because he didn't just do it at his house. He does it to his motorcycle. He rents a motorcycle, puts stickers on it. But I thought I could convert him. I had held up hope, because we would have long talks about, spirituality, like, and he started to notice more and more that he was not really truly open to spirituality. And there was a deep darkness inside of him. Not like a psychoanalysis darkness, but like a real evil, like I saw true evil when I saw him deep inside of him. And it's very banal. I think a lot of people have like this idea of like the Satan, Lucifer is like an evil genius, or like the Al Pacino in the movie Keanu Reeves, which is just like the mastermind. And it's really not. It's really just like a spoiled brat. It's just so banal and insane how the slave masters are basically a collection of banal, spoiled brats. Anyways, one of the reasons he was spoiled was, or one of the things that started to, was like, this is a spiritual temple. He understands I'm trying to be a spiritual um, person here, and he's like ordering takeout every meal delivery. It comes in like all this plastic and styrofoam. They can styrofoam everything. They don't just give you napkins. They put napkins in a plastic bag. It's just all a bunch of crazy amount of pollution. And one of the big things about him is, and this is a big thing about a lot of people that smoke. Smokers are a red flag, but they're polluting people. So he was polluting this place a lot. He would get food from a restaurant that opens coconuts, pours the juice into a plastic bottle, and then sells that. Like, the perfect eating coconut. It's not water. It's not just for good health. Healthy coconut water. It's for good planet as well. Like, you don't need to use plastic bottles and drink plastic BPA microplastics. You don't need that crap. Yeah, it's heavier, but that's the whole lure of coconut water. Oh my god. Anyways, my yard is covered in bottles, plastic bottles, styrofoam plates, tops, these styrofoam plates and tops, and just littered in plastic. He would just eat it outside and then not throw it away, and the wind blows it all across the yard. Anyways, it's like I had to keep asking him to clean it up. We have a maid that cleans up after him inside the house. She's paid to clean the room by room, to clean up the yard. So I would do it just because I don't want it to blow into my neighbor's yard right that moment. So, but like trash. So I would ask him to do it. Like, hey, can you keep this place? Can you pick up all these bottles and stuff? And he would just be like a reaction that was like, what the fuck? Like, how do you, what the fuck reaction when you're at my house and you're littering, and I've asked you multiple times to not litter. Anyways, it became apparent to me that he thought I was like a housekeeper, a live-in housekeeper. He thought I was a live-in housekeeper that also happened to collect rent for other people. Like someone else owned this house. And it is true, I don't own this house. I've been renting this house, right? Like, I came here just room at first, and Mario was living here, but he moved out. And he was like, do you want to rent the whole house still? Because either we're not paying the rent together, or you're gonna have to pay the whole house. And so I was like, okay, I'll pay the whole house. So I've been paying the whole house for 6 months, maybe 4 months. 4 months. And that's when he asked me if he could rent a room in my house. Anyways, why did I say all this? Oh yeah, when he asked me if he could rent a room in my house, when Yoav asked me if he could rent a room in my house, I was against it at first. I was like, I don't think so. And I got out of it saying, just giving an excuse like, no, I'm in Korea. I won't be back. I don't know when I said. I'm in Korea. I don't know when I'll be back. He goes, I'm in Asia too. And when someone says I'm in Korea right now, and the person responds, I'm in Asia too, where do you think he could be? start naming names. Well, he says it like he's nearby. When you say you're in Korea, he's like, I'm in Asia too. Um, Nearby Korea is Korea, China, Japan, Vietnam. You know, that's where you kind of go, right? So I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think you'd be in Asia. Not many people are in Asia. And he's like, Israel. And I was like, what a attempt to like that's not Asia. And I know if you Google a map, Asia, it's gonna show all like Russia, even India, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, maybe. I don't know, maybe not. But that whole Eastern Mediterranean. And I was like, that's such a bullshit. We got to redefine Asia at this point. If you're going to take Asia, go around saying I'm Asian, fucking bullshit. I don't want to be associated. You're not Asian. You're not in Asia. Or you can be Asian. That giant bullshit drawing of the Asian map. But then us chopstick, we don't want to be Asian. Like whatever you are, we don't want to be. All right. That's how I want to respond. You're in Asia. Oh, you call that Asia? If that's Asia, I don't want to be Asian. if there's Asian, I don't want to be Asian. And so, yeah, I say we're already called Asian Americans. I am Asian American as a U.S. born descendant of Korea. But the easiest would be to call that region white. It's just a tanner white. It's white people that were able to tan a little bit. Not all the way black. You know, not Sudanese black, but like very brown, right? And not all people in those lands, we'll call it those Arabic, Mesopotamian type of region. Not all of them are dark brown. Some of them also were merchants who were very white. They say all the time there's blonde hair, blue eyes in Arab lands. There's a lot of them. Okay, fine. Then let's also not call you guys Asians, because Asians are never blonde hair, blue eyed. All right. If you say Arabs are also blonde hair, blue eyed, then be white. All right. So these white lands where blonde hair, blue eyed people exist, we could call them Europeans. We could call them Mediterraneans. We can call them whatever. I say we call them Euro-Mediterraneans, Euromeds. Euromeds people includes all of the Arabic lands. Europe and Arab. They all believe in the Adam and Eve. Sure. So that's their grouping. There is no white people and Arab people. There is no, it's just a bullshit separation. No Arab, white, Jew. It's all Adam and Eve cults, all right? They just have different sects. They have a Jesus sect, Muhammad sect, and Moses sect, or Rabbi sect, whatever. Rabbi whoever is their most recent decision maker, we'll call it. So yeah. Or the final option is white people are just Arab. They're pale Arabs. They're Europeans that got kicked out of Iran, whatever, 5,000 years ago. Or ongoing, it never really stopped. Whoever got kicked out of Iran, uh, pretty much from that Mesopotamian, Babylonian, blah, 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 y'all had to pretty much get on a boat and go to Greece, Italy, all that. And then from there, you guys spread up in waves, you know. Got kicked out of Iran throughout 1,000 years, and you went north, and you had to survive the cold, and you became very pale. You lost your ability to make melatonin. After 20 generations, you create mutations that proliferate where, you know, a man and a woman, both who happen to have the same mutation of not creating good, not being able to tan, they make babies and they never get weeded out because it's sunless. So now you have a permanent race, is what they want to call it, of white people that basically sun or get skin cancer after a few decades if they're in the sun too much. Millions of people who suffer from that from the last few thousand years. And that's what white people are. Arabs that got expelled 5,000 years ago. Oh no, there were humans in Europe, Northern Europe, at least 12,000 years ago. Yeah, but they were like very few. People living in caves. Can't fit that many people in caves. Pockets of people living in caves until the world warmed up a bit. Then you all came out, mixed with Neanderthals and whatever, migrant hunters, people that don't know how to grow food at all. They just chase their animals to eat. They love eating flesh and blood. Oh yeah. These cold weather people, they eat a lot of flesh to survive. They don't eat anything. Because why would you grow anything when the cold comes for 6 months? 6 months you don't have food to eat or grow. You're just gonna hunt all 12 months. Anyways, these people love drinking blood and they incorporate it into their whole ritual of their religion. And today they sell that blood. Take the blood, infuse it, or transfuse children's blood into the richest people to use for, and they include celebrities as well. Make it a whole ritual so that they have blackmail evidence of them partaking in blood drinking and injecting blood into them and children. And if they ever try to escape the cult, they'll sacrifice them to the world because the world will want that person executed. And anyways, so yeah, we should just call Arabs Palestinians. It'll solve so many of the wars, right? Because white people will actually step up and say, hey, they're white too. They're so yeah. Option one, white and Arabs are white. Option two, white and Arabs are all called Arabs. Or option three, we create some weird name like Euro-Mediterraneans. Euro-Mediterranean, Mesopotamian pyramids, and it'll solve a lot of the issues because really they're not different. That's the religious trilogy. The Father is Judaism, who gave birth to the Son, who created Christianity. Judaism, the Father, who created and gave birth to the Son, called Christianity. And then also created the companion to Christianity, near the same time, with the same 400, 500 years time frame, called Islam, which is kind of like the Holy Spirit, where they just really, really believe in keeping true to strict obedience of superficial love. Yeah. It's not true love. And femininity, protection of, guarding of women and their passivity. They're the most passive, like Taoism says you need to also be strong sometimes. You want to find the situations when it's best to be soft, and then also know when it's time to be strong and firm. And really, religion should have teachings that say we need to be martyrs sometimes, allow us to be hit and just be strong enough to take it, right? In Kung Fu, if you go to the temples, you're gonna get beat, and it's to train your body to be strong, to endure pain and not be affected by it. So you get beat with a stick over and over until the stick breaks when it hits, right? And that involves like strengthening your actual bones and skin, and using magical chi energy to absorb the, and that's the feminine, being a martyr, right? You let yourself be hit or killed by the greedy, evil slave masters. Being a martyr, resisting them, allowing them to harm you. So that's being a martyr. That's what Islam, the Holy Spirit, is about, being a martyr. When really it should be about also not just being a martyr, but being a fighter. Not just getting killed, but killing. Killing is evil. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not kill. We have to kill the evil slave masters, or they will kill us. They will enslave us for generations. No, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not kill. That's the Christian, Islam brainwashing. They created Christianity and Islam to train us to worship for heaven after we die, and to be martyrs and slaves in this, and to never kill the slave masters. Write that down. I need to write that down. That's what Christianity is. Brainwashing to never go to war against the true evil, greedy criminals that have enslaved us. We are that Bruce Lee Brazil. Everyone is. Oh, someone says I'm handsome. Jackie Chan, I told you. Jackie Chan has never had a facial hair, I don't think. Oh my god, it's Jackie Chan. Amanda Carvalho wrote something that people, Bruce Lee, it's always never ceases to amaze me.